Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the USTC Network. My name is Jamie. If you're new to the channel, if you would like, subscribe, leave a comment. For everybody that's returning, as the post says, there goes the turbo. So if you watched my last video, it was about trouble in paradise. My radiator went out and I had to replace it. And busted a coolant hose, I think a couple days before that. This time, was it a week or two later, turbo went out. So kind of to go back over the, what happened. So I was just driving down the road up a gradual grade and just lost all PSI, turbo PSI, everything. Just had no power whatsoever. No dash lights come on or anything like that, which was, weird. But pulled over, which I had the inkling, it went out anyways. So pulled over, called a service guy out. He come out, looked at started taking off boot clamps for the charge side of the turbo, and he got one, a little loosened, and it just started dripping oil out of the charge pipe, which indicates automatically, turbo went out. So he just tightened it up. I will say for him just partially unscrewing that clamp, the $350 charge to come out there was a little much, I'd say. But that's part of it. So got towed down to the Kenworth dealership in Knoxville. So that was $699. Not too bad. I had one price me for over $900 to get towed down there. So I got towed down there. Started calling around to find a turbo because I knew automatically it was going to be pricey. Didn't know it was going to be as pricey as once I started calling. I was expecting to buy the turbo. I was expecting around $4,000 to maybe like high $5,000. So called Kenworth and a couple other places, Kenworth, Peterbilt, etc., because it's coming, so you can call multiple places. All of them were over $6,000 for a reman turbo, and I about shit a brick. So after calling several places, dealerships, Tim over here at Gorley Trucking knows a guy, I guess another owner operator or something. Asked him, I guess he did one a while back. Called him, asked him where he got his turbo and stuff. So found out he got it out of a third party out of Illinois. I think it's HD Turbo or something like that. So went on their website, same turbo, reman turbo, with a year warranty, unlimited miles, shipped for overnight shipping, which is an extra $300. So out the door was like $5,000. That's including the overnight shipping. So if you subtract that out the door, it's like, what was it, $4,700? And that's including a $800 core that they will, send you once you mail them in your old turbo. So you get that back. So you couldn't beat it. So I ordered that, had it shipped to the dealership in Knoxville. And then Knoxville charged me I think it's like $1,300 to install it, etc. Excuse me. So, yeah, it kind of hurt, and out of nowhere. Excuse me. That being said, if you are an owner operator, or if you're starting out to be an owner operator, make sure you have a maintenance plan. You are going, especially if you have a higher mileage truck. I wouldn't say mine's high mileage, but it's getting up there. I'm at about mid sixes, so I would definitely, in my opinion, you need to at least have 10,000 in your maintenance account at all times, if not more. When me and Rick were over at Covenant, and if you're looking to be an owner operator or start, so if you're new to the channel and this is your first video, I had an old partner, old teammate, Rick. We were at Covenant so we did the lease purchase program through TEL, TEL, and we're signed on with Covenant running team, brand new. So originally we were at US Express doing lease purchase. I highly recommend you don't do it. So at TEL, the brand new truck, you pay the same amount as you are at a place like US Express for a truck that already has 400,000 miles on it. So brand new truck, and I mean brand new, straight from the factory pretty much. I think ours had like 500 miles on it or something. Payment's the same as it would be if you're at US Express or somewhere like that. Granted, you have a balloon payment at the end, and in my eyes, if you're not willing to have a balloon payment, your heart's not really in it. Because usually when something goes wrong, if you don't have a balloon payment, people jump, and you if that's the way your mentality is, you don't need to be an owner operator. Just plain and simple. But anyways, yeah. So over there, by the time we got done our 2-year lease purchase over at TEL / Covenant, we had $30,000 in maintenance. So I would highly recommend, if you're starting out, build your maintenance up as fast as possible. Because, like I said, so I had the turbo go out this week. A week or two earlier, I had the radiator go out. I had to replace it. I think that was like $4,000 or something, $3,000, whatever it was, to have them replace that. So, yeah. And then at the end of last year, I spent about $14,000 on 2 trucks. So yeah, if you're wanting to be an owner operator, take my warning, have money saved. And if you don't, and you're wanting to kind of build as you go, you better build quick. Some advice being an owner operator: if you're not willing to hustle, if you're not willing to deal with the extreme amount of stress, I would say don't be an owner operator. I ain't gonna call the person, or I ain't gonna say the name, but so over here, Gorley, we're all owner operators. We had a gentleman come on here, or I should say, Tim had a gentleman come on, and within day 2, he was wanting to quit. Brand new owner operator, just got his truck. Within 2 days, he's wanting to quit, and it's kind of mind blowing. But I would say it's because the guys and girls that become an owner or want to become an owner operator, they don't understand the amount of stress, the amount of hustle that you have to be an owner operator. And that's why I created this channel, is for people to follow the at the time it was mine and Rick's story. Follow us from company drivers to lease purchase to then Rick went other direction, but then I went to plain owner operator, then owner operated multiple trucks. So this channel, if you're new to the channel, this channel is for that, what to expect through all that. So the gentleman come over here within 2 days. He was wanting to quit already, and about I think 14 days or something like that, he ended up quitting. So granted, me and Rick went to Landstar one time when we were doing the lease purchase with Tail, because you have the opportunity to do that if you want to, if you pay a certain amount. And we went over there, and Landstar was horrible. The only thing about Landstar that I didn't like is their load board / agents. Their agents were horrible. The load board was horrible. There was one day me and Rick called at least 15 brokers per person. So 30 brokers to find one load, because they would leave the loads posted to the Landstar load board and not take them off once they book them. And it was a nightmare, absolute nightmare. Now, being my own owner operator, using DAT and all the others, load boards that we have like 9 load boards over here. Dang near I can call one and it's always available. I might once a month get a load that's been booked and it's still on the load board. But they keep up, DAT and others, they keep up with what's been booked, etc., and make sure it's off there. So be prepared if you're wanting to get into owner operating. Be prepared to hustle, because if you're not willing to hustle and you don't want to hustle, stick to being a company driver. Plain and simple. If you're one of those that are, you just want to be told where to go, when to be there, etc., then stick to company driver, because that's not the way owner operator works. You're constantly looking for loads. And as long as you stay on top of looking for loads, you're fine. But sometimes people will get into the habit of they'll book loads, and then they just stop until day of, and then they're panicking, trying to find more loads. But if you stay consistent, book a load. So I try to only book loads like 2 days in advance. If you go longer than that, you're shooting yourself in the foot as far as rates, because when they first post the load, brokers, they put it low when it's 3 or 4 days out. They'll just they put it low because it's so far out. They're not in a hurry to book it. Well, if you wait closer, they start raising that rate up when nobody when nobody gets the load. So I try to stay a day 2 max, and sometimes I will do day of. It just depends on the area. So as long as you stay at a steady rate, you don't get overwhelmed. And for a new owner operator, when you first start out, your mind's going all different directions. And that's one thing I like to, over here at Gorley is with Tim, he's willing to help you out. All you have to do is ask. And, when I hire a driver for my trucks, I'm the same way. If my drivers need help, especially when they're brand new, I'm willing to help. All they have to do is ask. I'll help them book loads. And a lot of times new broker or new drivers, new owner operators, when you're booking your first loads, they feel awkward. They feel, which it is a little awkward when you first book loads, because you're sitting there having to negotiate prices. It makes you feel weird, because you're asking for more money. So usually my drivers, I'll let them listen to a call, how I do talk to brokers, how I negotiate with them, etc. And it helps them like know what to expect and stuff. So when they do it themselves, and then I'll have them do it and I'll listen. And then if they have an issue, I will speak up. My last driver, which was my sister, when she come on, I did the same thing to her. I let her listen to one of mine. And then the next one she did, I just sat back and listened to it. And she was doing great up to a certain point, and then he asked a certain question or something, I can't remember what it was, and she got befuddled. She was, and then I spoke up, hey, this is so and so, this is her, she's training, whatever, and then I told them what was needed, and so then from that point on, she knew what to do, knew how to handle it, etc. So just be prepared. If you're becoming an owner operator, you have to hustle. No, there's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. Because not only are you having to book your own loads, etc. There's other company, like, your own company stuff that you have to do. You're having to keep up with tax stuff. If you're doing payroll, you have to keep up with payroll. There's stuff as far as, like, the carrier side that you're having to keep up with. Stuff I have to do for Tim. Maintenance reports, keeping up with what else? If, like, he'll send you IFTA stuff that which he'll pull that direct out of your pay if you want, or you can pay it outright of your account, whatever you want to do. I have him where he just pulls it out of my account or out of my pay for that week for both trucks. But there's company stuff that you have to keep up with also, and then keeping up with your maintenance, making sure you have enough to cover everything. So, and that's why I say, if you're wanting to be an owner operator and you have any kind of questions, leave a comment. I usually comment, or I usually reply within the hour. Usually it's within like 30 minutes because it goes directly to my phone. And if you want to email me, if you don't want to post it online, and if you think it's a dumb question or not, which no questions are dumb, especially if you've never done it, you just don't know. So if you want to leave me a comment, ustcrecruiting@gmail.com. Leave me an email. I'll email you back, pretty quick. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much about it. Sierra, my other truck, she's doing great. She's still on a dedicated route. It's going good. See, I think that's pretty much it. But yeah, if you would like, subscribe, comment, email me. You got my email. If there's anything that you guys have questions about, feel free. If you want me to do a video on them, I'll do a video on it. If you just want to ask me the question, we can talk about it in the comments or email. But that's pretty much it. Until next time, fellas.